Welcome back to a family business podcast. We're here in August. So when this episode comes to all of you amazing people, we are in the month of August, which is typically a odd month in the real estate industry in general. A lot of people are going back to school, taking last minute vacations. We've had a fairly strong market so far to this year up to this point. But there's times, especially within this month, that we might see just a little bit different or shift in our market in general. So let's talk about conversations that we're having with our sellers, how we're prepping them a little bit too, and maybe just kind of what we've seen so far as well.
Yeah, I'm going to say right away that we've been telling people for the last couple of weeks anyway that are anxious and to get their homes on the market right now that it's okay if you don't get it on the market right now. Now, I would say if you had a person that called you a month ago or even 2 months ago, that you would tell them that you'll want to make sure you get your house on the market before the end of the second week in August, because that third week and the last week in August, those are slow times because a lot of people are going back to school. They're wrapping up their trips. And even some right now are already back in school. So I think we're going to see over the next couple of weeks, and we've already started to kind of see it a little bit, is the normal August slowdown.
Well, I think that that's all true, but I also think that, and we have, 3 sellers right now that are, it matters. Yes, our market's still good. So we've already addressed that. And obviously the news came out that rates dropped to the lowest they've been all year last week or 2 weeks ago when this airs probably. It'll be interesting to see when this airs, what rates are doing. But the announcement too that there's potentially going to be 3 or 4 more rate cuts by the end of the year, which would be insane if that happens. But you're seeing buyers be a little more selective. Not that they're not coming to the table, but they're just being a little more selective. So it's even more important that your sellers have their house in prime market condition to list. So we have 3 of them right now that we're like, hey, like to Brad's point, nothing's going to happen really the last 2 weeks of August. So just wait, list it after Labor Day, and let's make sure you're ready to go when we lift the curtain. And so I think you're seeing a lot of that conversation.
Yeah, and it's quite interesting. We've touched on a couple times that we're seeing some potentially more price ranges that have more options. We're starting to feel a little bit of inventory growth in those sectors. But it's important to still have those conversations. Where do you start with those conversations to kind of go a little bit deeper? Obviously in our listing consults, right? And having the conversation, where is our timeline kind of lay out here? And it's quite interesting. The Illinois side starts a little bit earlier than the Iowa side for school wise. So it's just kind of planning and seeing what works right. But then again, we still have to price the home, right? I mean, correctly. So having those conversations with the sellers are important. And then once you go from there, I guess a good question to ask is, okay, so we have the home on the market for a while, and we seem to have some issues, or not issues, but we've sat a little bit longer than expected than our initial conversation. Where do we go from there?
Yeah. I would say right now for sellers, if their home's sitting around, like you had just mentioned, we're in a good market. Would I call it great? Borderline. I mean,
depending
still
on the price
really
range.
good. So if your home hasn't sold right now, there's a couple of strategies, I think. You can either drop the price, of course. I mean, that's always the popular line, right? Or the next deal is right after Labor Day, we tend to see a little bit of a push. So I would still say that if you've had your house in the market for more than 3 weeks, more than 2.5 weeks, and it hasn't sold at any time of the year right now, it's probably time for a price reduction. We always had a golden rule of 10 showings back in the day. But I would say these days we've kind of changed it to a time period that if the house hasn't sold in a couple of weeks, we're probably overpriced.
But the interesting thing about that is if you look at the recent stats, though, it's at 7 to 8, at approximately 7 to 8 showings before you get an offer, and in about 21 days. So I think that maybe the problem is that people are pulling the trigger too quickly on accepting an offer. If you're an agent and you're writing an offer right away, and maybe you're getting a little better deal, but then I don't know. It's just a weird time. We talked about this on a previous podcast. It's just a weird time. I don't know.
Well, let's kind of, go back to this too. Right now is a prime opportunity if you're representing a buyer.
Sure.
To buy a house.
Right.
Buy it now. Like,
For sure.
We talk about this on every podcast. Like, when's the best time to buy a house? Right now. And that's always true. And it's especially true right now that rates are dropping, right? And we don't know where the bottom's going to be. I mean, with Jerome Powell, you never know. I mean, they're talking that they're probably going to cut the rates, but there's a chance that maybe he just holds them steady, which once again, let's go back to this. The mortgage interest rate is not dictated by what Jerome Powell does. It is to an extent, but the biggest deal is the bond rate, and the bond rate's up. So that's why we're seeing mortgage rates drop. Now,
and the jobs report sucked.
In the jobs report, yeah. But the biggest deal, though, which was a shocker, that if you are looking at your 401k, is that inflation's down, which is huge.
Sure.
Absolutely massive. So that's why the stock markets, I really think
Except
right now,
for when it comes to home prices.
yeah, you're really going to see, I really think, with the way that the stock market has exploded here over the past 3 months, I think you're going to see that higher end real estate market come back really hot, and especially with the rates dropping a little bit.
Well, I think we see it for sure too. Just when something comes up, and we've talked about the different price ranges and what we have seen within them. But with that higher price range, yes, the interest rate plays a little bit more of a role with a higher amount at the end of the day. But also, it's still very limited, where in the 150 to 250, we're starting to see a little bit more. So on the Illinois side in our market, there's just been a couple more options. And just an observation, and maybe this is not, just my only observation, but it seems that buyers' tendencies right now, they have been so used to, there's only one option that sits in front of them. And now we have maybe 2 to 3, and maybe it's not overwhelming, but it's just definitely has kind of skewed a little things for just the readiness and the decision making within a buyer, which it seems is quite interesting.
Yeah,
well.
and that triggers not so much like, oh my gosh, I have to buy it right now. We went yesterday out with we as in me, myself, and I. Myself went out with a first-time home buyer yesterday, and we looked at homes that were priced at $128,000 and one that's was priced at $134,900. And those houses, I truly believe 3 months ago would have already been gone.
Right.
But now you're seeing, like you said, a little more inventory, and they're sitting a little while longer. And it's nothing like, I think I've been licensed now for 25 years, right, Andrea?
Why do we debate this all the time?
It was in August of 2000, so I don't know. It and I should probably know my anniversary.
There we go.
Right?
So, yep.
But when I look at the past, like when I say that the market times are longer, they're still historically ridiculously short. Like you just said 3 weeks. 3 weeks sounds like a really long time right now, right?
Right. Yeah.
But the fact of the matter is,
Oh my gosh, when I got in the business with you, we had like year long.
if you would sell it in a month, that you did a great job.
Yeah, you like blasted all over social media. Mm-hmm. Sold in less than 30 days.
Right? I had 2 showings in the first week.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, it was just a different. Now you have 2 showings in the first week, and the sellers are like, "What's going on here?"
Yeah.
Right? It's a different deal.
Yeah.
Yeah. So these conversations have gotten quite interesting, and it just seems, I think there's just so many different aspects that play into it. But having that conversation of, okay, this is the month of August, this is what we can expect. I mean, I'm kind of speaking from, personal experience here. We went live with the listing, and about 3 weeks ago, and, it seemed like a home run deal. And, it's just, times have changed and shifted a little bit in that quick time period, and we've just had to reframe and have those conversations with the seller that, hey, this is how we need to adjust to still be successful in this shifting market.
And they're tough conversations, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's but as an agent, like I would highly advise have those constant conversations. And even if you have no activity, what did our famous client in Rapid City say?
Said, I don't care if you call and tell me I don't have a freaking clue. Just at least I know you're still working
for
on
me.
it.
And that was back in that era when the market times were, well, and for that house that it was in the higher end price range. I mean, we weren't talking days. We were talking potentially years up until you found the right buyer. Yeah. But that is the biggest thing, is constant communication with those sellers that we're so used to getting the pictures taken, listing the house, getting multiple offers. Well, the fact of the matter is that that's not the way that real estate normally is. It's been that way for the last 4 years and still is in pockets of the market. But I do think even when rates will drop a little bit, but I don't see them drastically dropping in the rest of 2025.
Well, and don't you think too that, I mean, that's going back to the conversation with the sellers. I mean, that's a conversation you should be having before you list it. I mean, yeah, you're going to have the difficult conversation if you don't have an offer in that first, 2-3 weeks or whatever.
2-3 weeks, like a week.
Well, if you don't, I mean,
seems like eternity.
I know it does seem like an eternity, but I don't think you should. Well, anyway,
we just had one recently that I knew was priced pretty well. We were on the upper end of the price range, but ended up getting a good offer on it. And I remember somebody in the room, the female version, telling me that, did we overprice that?
Maybe that's not how I identify anymore.
We were on the market for 4 days, and she was asking me that question. But we're so used to, you list it and you just have tons of activities. And this was in a higher price point. And I knew that we were on the upper end of the price range, but definitely not overpriced.
No, but again, you have to prep your seller for that in advance. Say, hey, this isn't the market it was in 2023 or 2021.
Yep.
So, we're going to position ourselves the best we can with the information we have, but the market's going to tell us, right? And so you just have to react from there. And that goes back to being we won't talk about this in this podcast, being a full-time realtor or agent that works the market full-time. So you know what's going on, or have a mentor or a team that you work with that can give you those insights instead of just guessing.
Correct. And that's why you shouldn't list your house for sale by owner. They don't know what they're doing.
Sure they do. They're great for buyers.
Yeah,
that's true.
Exactly.
We love for sale by owners when we're buyers, agent.
Yeah, so I think we can shift the conversation a little bit to the buy side too. I mean, we mentioned, that there's some more options out there, and that every time is the best time to buy. So, how are we articulating that to the buyers right now? And how are we getting them to focus a little bit more, especially if they have a couple more options than what they're used to, than compared to a couple months ago, which is quite incredible.
Well, what a great sell job right now, right? Is that you can tell your buyers, hey, call them, don't text them, call them and say, hey, I know you were going to take a little bit of a pause, but did you see that the rates have dropped? Oh, well, I've heard that they were high, and you can then tell them that no, they're trending down, and now is a great time to buy. That house that would have cost you X amount 2 weeks ago now costs you quite a bit less money per month. So to answer your question, I mean, I really think now is a prime opportunity if you're a buyer, that the competition is not quite as high, that this hasn't caught on yet, that rates are dropping.
Right. And proof over promise, right? At the end of the day, that's what we always preach. We get emails sent on different options for rates that are being offered by different lenders here in our area. Screenshot them and can keep a backlog and physically show them the rate dropping. Right.
Idea.
I mean, we can make phone calls all day and express it, but until it sits in front of their face and they understand, okay, wow, it was just over 6 and now it's under 6. I mean, that could do a lot at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Well, and I also think too, just because we're not in a buyer's market. I think that's the other thing that, when you guys we're having this conversation, we're not in a buyer's market. We're still in a seller's market. So if you're the buyer, I mean, the fact that you have 3 or 4 options in your price range, I mean, you should be doing cartwheels down the sidewalk. But I wouldn't be diddle-daddling and making, if one of them is the right one, you know that you should move forward and make an offer on it before it ends up being competing offers on it.
I do think part of it though is that we have to go in like it used to be, like a month ago, like you would say, gosh, I mean, that price is pushing it. We have to offer at least what they are really asking or even more. But I think now we are in a time period where the buyer demand is not quite as crazy. So you can now go in, and if you know that something's overpriced, that you can say, hey, I really think this is a little bit overpriced. Maybe we ought to offer less, which, I mean, when's the last time we were saying that?
Well, a prime example of this happened about a month ago. There was a property that's, they really liked, but, weren't super happy with the asking price. And I said, let's just write an offer and see what happens and, kind of just make it as favorable to you as possible. And we did get a counter back, which I prepped them for, but they ended up getting, under asking. They got closing costs, inspections. And I went to them, and it was over the number that they wanted to go above. But I said, hey, it wasn't anything crazy. I said, you might not end up in the situation again where, one, you're not competing, you're getting closing costs, and you're getting full inspections. I mean, this is a pretty darn good deal that you're ending up with here. And that's just the prime example of what could happen for a potential buyer right now.
Absolutely.
It's just like with the rates. I mean, that's the same conversation, is that they are what they are this week, but you never know. I mean, and we just talked about that in our sales meeting at the office yesterday, is that, I mean, if you go back to pre-COVID, I mean, that window of time when those rates dropped to that number, it was a very short window of time. And the people that had, agents and lenders that were on their side and they were having constant conversations with, they're the people that capitalize on that. And it's no different in this market. You're not the 2.75 rates, but same thing. You got to rely on your agent to advise you, is this the best deal I'm going to get for the best deals that are available in this world? Yes, it is. So you should take it.
Yeah. And the best time to buy is when?
Now.
When it's right for you.
And why I'm really saying this again is that rates are trending down, right? So the house that I could buy today for $100,000, when the rates drop another full percentage, that same house is probably going to be $110,000, right? So it's one of those where, your rate's going to be lower, but you're also going to be paying more for the house. So it's one of those that now is always the best time to buy. So I hope that answers your buyer question. And I always say that because everybody tries to time the market, right? Like, when's the best time to buy? Right now. But I've had people ask me in the last year or two, when's the market going to crash? I don't have a crystal ball, right. But even if it does, for some unforsaken reason, which is probably not going to happen, it's going to rebound, right? It's like trying to time the stock market. You can't do it.
Well, did you just see it? And again, I wrote down some things, but I should have written down this. Did you see that they were talking about how this is the first time, and I can't remember if it was nationwide, the statistic, or if it was a local, but it's the first time that existing homes have actually outpaced new construction.
Yep, I saw that on BAM. Yeah,
that's what it was. You're right, because it came through on my email. But that's kind of mind blowing, and that just shows you when people talk about the crash. Well, it can't.
Right.
I mean, those two things don't add up.
Yeah.
But I mean, it hasn't been that way, and as long as I've been in the business, new construction has always outpaced the market, which is crazy to me.
Yeah.
Just
you were absolutely right.
It's definitely an interesting time. And it all goes back. I think our core piece that we always believe in is just the communication, the conversations you're having, proof over promise. And if you do that, you don't have much to worry about at the end of the day. Yeah. One, you're going to build trust within your relationships as well. But if you have you're fully engaged in the market full time, seeing what's going on, you're going to be that trusted advisor for your people at the end of the day, which is what's going to carry you down the road.
Absolutely.
Yep. 100%. And as a buyer or a seller, I mean, that's what you want, is someone who is going to advocate for you and knows what's going on. But yeah, I do laugh sometimes when it's like someone will write an offer on one of our properties and I'm like, who are you? I mean, but nothing, but it's like, you don't have to necessarily sell a ton of real estate for us to know who you are in the real estate market, right? Just being involved. Like, how have I never seen you or ever heard your name before? Like, that means how involved are you? Are you going to realtor tours? Are you out in the community?
To your point, the biggest deal is your realtor should be full-time, not part-time.
Yeah. Agree with that too, for sure.
Friends and family discount.
That's right.
Oh, goodness. Well, the good thing is that, after Labor Day, specifically here in our market, we should see an uptick back to kind of where we are. But as Brad always says, we don't have a crystal ball, and that's the truth.
Buy now.
Exactly.
Well,
right?
yeah, and if you think about it, we've talked about this before, but obviously there's still it's still a seller's market. How many buyers do we have? You guys just went through this yesterday, just sitting on a list,
Yeah.
waiting to buy a house. There's just nothing out there for them to buy.
Yeah, that's
It's
very
not just
true.
one
Yeah.
or two, it's several.
Yeah.
So if you're a seller, call us. We have some buyers.
Yeah.
Well, and get creative too. I mean, for example, we've got one area that we've got multiple people that want to be there. So get creative with how you work with it and how you work for your clients. Write a letter to the subdivision that they might want to be. Go door knock. The weather is still beautiful. Yes, it's a little warm, so beat the heat or
and
whatever.
that's the other thing,
We'll
PT,
put
that we
shorts
have
and
not
Brad.
even talked about. We have not even talked about this.
You in shorts? We haven't talked about you in shorts?
No.
Oh.
We're
Do
getting
you ever
into,
wear shorts
yes.
for work? When?
Work? No.
What are
well, one time.
Just one time in
This
25
year,
years.
I went out and looked at lots with PT and one of our clients, and it was just way too hot that day. So I wore a black real shirt and.
that was smart. A black real shirt.
Yeah, that wasn't
so
very
hot
smart,
you could
was
wear
it?
Shorts.
Was I wearing a black real shirt?
I think it was navy blue. If I remember
Navy
correctly.
blue, maybe. Yeah,
Still
yeah.
close.
Anyway, but yeah, so the biggest takeaway that I have here out of this whole thing is rates are dropping. Buy your home right now. Sell your home right now. Like, it is a great time. And we're getting into, like you said, PT, right after Labor Day. The weather is just glorious, right? I mean, it is warm during the day, cool at nights, and a lot of people like being outside. So if you're considering buying or selling real estate or building, right now is the time to do it.
You heard the man. If you have any questions about the market or what you should be doing to prepare yourself as a buyer or seller, shoot us a DM on all our socials, and we'd be willing to educate you and see if we'd be a good help to you.
Peace.
Peace out.